In social studies class today, we were given these 10 amendments, and our task was to define these 10 to confirm our understanding. Now, if you want to just get the answers right now, feel free. I'm going to put them up right now. But if you want an explanation to each answer, stay to the end. I'm starting right now. So, Amendment number 1. It reads, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people to peacefully assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. So, the whole idea of this First Amendment is that the people and the press has the freedom of speech, meaning they can openly express their views on a certain topic. Also, this amendment means that you have the freedom to practice any religion you would like to, and you have the right to peacefully protest. Now, moving on to the next one. Amendment number 2 reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Essentially, this means that you have the right to keep guns, weapons, and other ammunitions, whether that be for hunting or just your personal safety. You have that right. That's basically what this means, so we're moving on to the next one. Amendment number 3. It reads, no soldier shall in time of peace be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. This was in regards to the Quartering Act. If you don't know what the Quartering Act was, it was when any British soldier could pick any house, enter it without the consent of the owner of the house, and the owner of that house was obligated to provide food, shelter, drink, transportation, etc. for that British soldier. Now, those of you who don't agree with that, no need to fear. The Third Amendment is here, because this Third Amendment makes sure that a soldier has to have consent before entering your house. Now, moving on to the Fourth Amendment. The Fourth Amendment reads, the right of the people to be secure in their persons' houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Now, the wording of this Fourth Amendment can be a little intimidating, but all it means is that a person's property can't be seized without a warrant that was issued by the judge. And moving on to the Fifth Amendment. The Fifth Amendment reads, no one shall be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. So my understanding of this is that you can't be tried for the same crime twice, you can't be forced to testify against yourself, you have the right to trial, and government can't take your stuff without paying. So when you hear people saying, I plead the Fifth, that means that they don't have to say anything when they're asked if they're guilty or not. So, that's the Fifth Amendment. The Sixth Amendment reads, when a person is accused of a crime, he or she will have a quick and public trial. The jury will be fair, and the accused will be told what the charge is, and they can face the people who say he or she broke the law. The accused can have a lawyer to help him or her with the case. So the part that you might need explanation on is the fair jury part. You might be wondering, well, what exactly do they mean by fair jury? And that just means that any person included in the jury cannot have any prior knowledge on the case. So that's why they have something called jury duty. They randomly select people, and they come in for jury duty to decide whether the suspect is guilty or not. Everything else is pretty self-explanatory. Now let's move on to the Seventh Amendment. So the Seventh Amendment reads, when a person sues another person and the amount of money is extreme, the case may be decided by a jury and the decision will be final. So all this means is that if you're suing someone for an extreme amount of money, the jury will decide and that decision will be final. Now, for the amount of money to qualify as extreme, it has to exceed $20. Now let's move on to the Eighth Amendment. The Eighth Amendment reads, excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. So this basically means that the bail set has to fit the crime. You can't go out there and set the bail to $2 million just because someone stole a piece of candy at Walmart. That obviously does not fit the crime. So this just means that the consequence or bail set has to fit the crime. Now let's move on to the Ninth Amendment. The Ninth Amendment reads, the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. Don't let those tricky words scare you. All this means is that you can't use your rights in the Constitution to take away someone else's rights. And we can move on to the final amendment. The 10th Amendment reads, "The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively, or to the people." This just means that if a rule isn't prohibited and isn't a federal right, it's the state's concern. And as you previously saw on the screen, age minimum to drive, that is a concern of the states. I hope that this video was beneficial to you, and until next time, I'm out.